So let's jump into some third-party news. We have a role-play item here, which would probably be good for the cosplayers of the future. This is the third-party M deck life-size, what they call it here human-size G1 Optimus Prime rifle, also known as Optimus Prime's Ion Blaster.
Yeah,
This
because
is called
technically life size, we'd be dead. You can't
Yeah,
hold that gun. That's
it'd
too
be the
big.
size of your car. So Optimus Prime's Ion Blaster here, they call it the Ion Blaster Commander. They say here that's 1 by 10 scale, and it's approximately 3 feet long. The interesting thing about this is I remember someone at TFCon also did something similar where they made a certain, I guess, a similar 1 by 10 scale Ion Blaster of Optimus Prime. They made it all out of die cast. So I'm curious if this is going to kind of go about it the same way. They say here it mimics the lights and sounds from the heroic robot hero, obviously Optimus Prime. I wonder if it's going to use the actual sound effects used from the TV show, which would be kind of cool if they really even bootleg that. That'd be crazy. But otherwise, it's your basic, role play item. They only have prototype photos for now, which are done in kind of like a CG kind of, prototype photo stage. Shows how it's going to light up too, which looks really cool if it was in a dark room. No stand, but I'm pretty sure they'll probably have something along those lines. I know that up to this point, they really haven't done anything of a role play capacity based off of real guns in Transformers mythos. There's always been role play items
Hmm.
within Transformers. Even like the Energon line had like a Star Saber sword, and the Armada line had a Star Saber sword. But it was never anything that was like 100% trying to look accurately like the original items. Like they were always like made for kids and then done in a very like preposterous kind of bubbly shape. I don't know how to describe it. You know what I mean?
Maybe
Like
I think the only thing that was pretty close was the laser beak from Armada.
yeah, yeah. If you could call that, if you could call that a role play item, yeah, that's probably the only one that's
I think
accurate.
that was probably the closest role play thing I could think of that was 100% accurate.
That was a one
Maybe
by one scale.
maybe
Yeah,
that maybe Megatron might kind of count.
yeah.
Megatron
When you fall into that area,
Shockwave.
yeah, Soundwave, you could kind of fall into that area, but I think more from like replicating the guns and
Okay, excuse
weapons.
me. All right, you're right. You're right.
If you're like, cause like there was a line done by Kabaya in Japan, and I think like if I want to pinpoint the date, I think it was like 1989, where it was a Kabaya line, which was it was called the Commander Guns line, which they made like these SD versions of Victory Saber, Mega Zarek, Rodimus Convoy, and I believe God Ginrai, and it was just these miniature replicas of their guns that shoot pellets. Like you had actually legitimately shot little pellets that you fed in, but they were done in like a mono color, like typical candy toys by Kabaya,
Right.
molded in one color, and done in a more SD kind of scale. Like it still fit in your hand as a human, but they were more like a handgun shape.
Yeah,
And I
I
mean, they're
guess like you don't want to scare the police, scare people, kind of
yeah,
thing. You
like
got you
so.
got to make it look a little bit ridiculous,
So
so they're
yeah,
not like that's an actual gun. You
yeah,
know.
and again, like moving forward into like let's say Armada or Energon, they did stuff that kind of was in the spirit of certain weapons in the show, but never were really more on that collector grade. Like this is an accurate, 1 by 10 representation of the Star Saber sword. They just did kind of like a kidified version that was kind of like more Fisher Price if anything. And so this is something that's interesting. This is something that like that barks up like I think you said it off the air. Like this is
Mm.
something that works with someone who has the Matrix of Leadership
Yeah,
accessory,
the third party matrix of leadership
the
that
third
lights
party
up.
one, or the official one that was done by Art Asylum. Like
Hopefully, you can wear all this and not be tired.
so like definitely a lot of cosplayers who do Optimus Prime. This will be a great companion piece. Currently, right now, there's no release date at the moment,
Mm.
and no price yet, although that could change after this recording. But it says here lights and sounds, more than 70 light points, which is pretty crazy. So that's probably going to give you an idea right there in terms of cost. I know that the third-party matrix of leadership, which was considerably smaller than this
Mm.
and had only one light-up point, which would be where the matrix core was, and you were talking between $99 to $150. So I'm going to ballpark it definitely more than that, for sure. But it's really cool. I know that if they did, because this is the Ion Blaster for Convoy, aka Optimus Prime, if they ever did one of the Photon Eliminator, which was Rodimus convoys, I'd be all over it.
Yeah.
I would be all over this thing.
I would want Jazz's like gun.
His little blaster.
Yeah,
there
a little
with the,
blast. I think that's more doable for my like. I think yours wouldn't it have to be like two parts and it comes into one kind of thing?
Well,
or?
see, the funny thing is with the Photon Eliminator with Rodimus was that whole gimmick where it's two guns that make one. That was created for the Masterpiece toy.
Ah.
That was with the Masterpiece toy. Like the engineers going like, well, how do we make two toys in one where it's Rodimus and Hot Rod?
Right.
And then they thought, how do we do two toys in one where it's his two guns that he used to have? And it's pure coincidence that if you look at G1 Rodimus Prime and you look at his two guns that he came with, they kind of look like it's a combined form of his Photon Eliminator gun that comes later on with the 86 Rodimus Prime toy. Pure coincidence. Pure coincidence. And not to mention the fact that Hot Rod really didn't use guns that much
Yeah.
in the 86 movie and in Season 3. He did use them, but just not that often. He was more known for his little tri-blasters on his wrists. So.
Right.
But it's another interesting fun fact. But yeah, this is a little cool thing. Definitely curious what the price is. That way it'll give me an idea if a Photon Eliminator ends up coming down the pipes for me and how much I'm going to have to invest there.